So Harvey Weinstein got about as bad news as he could have gotten today. It's life in prison.
When you're 67 and you were told you were going to prison.
No, excuse me. And in really
horrible health. And you get 23 years in prison, that amounts to a life sentence. That's what happened in court this morning in New York City. Harvey Weinstein actually stood up in court before the sentence was announced, and he actually addressed his accusers, including the two victims who testified against him. They were in court and addressed them directly. Said that he felt remorse. He said he has great remorse for all. He said, "I have great remorse for all of you. I have great remorse for all women." That was one of the things prosecutors pointed out when they asked for his sentence for a lengthy sentence.
They said he was without remorse.
Said he had no remorse, and he used the word remorse at least 4 times during his address to the court.
And then he talked about the difficulty that men are having in society, he said.
This is where, and it was right after he said he had remorse. So he says, "I have remorse for everything I've done." He apologized to the women, he apologized to his ex-wives, and then he says he's confused about the charges, and he says, "I think all men are confused about this. There's a feeling of thousands of men and women who are losing due process. I'm worried about this country." That doesn't sound like someone who has remorse. That sounds like someone who thinks he got screwed somehow here. That this was not.
I mean, I don't know how else to
a just verdict.
I don't know else how to take that. I think he's raising an issue that others have raised, which is.
So he's not speaking about himself.
I think he is speaking about himself. I mean, I do think you're right. I mean, I think he's now criticizing what happened to him.
Right.
But at the same time, I think he's parroting what others have talked about when he talks about due process, that a lot of this gets tried in the media with untested cases.
And I think that's muddying the water to bring up those,
because he's at a trial. Because he's at a trial.
Exactly.
Well, the reconciliation of the two things, right, is that Harvey Weinstein feels remorse that he got caught, that he got nabbed and he got convicted, but doesn't feel remorse for his actions because he doesn't think that he did anything wrong. He thinks he's being tried without due process, just based on the scurrilous accusations of a few women who he has tried to discredit.
See, I'm not sure, Jason. I think what he's talking about with other people with due process, I don't think he's talking about trials. I think he's talking about the way
people being accused
because when
cancel culture.
The other day he had said when he filed those legal docs asking for 5 years, he had said that a New Yorker article, as he put it, ruined his life. And I think he's talking about, doing this in the media, but it confuses things because his case then also went to trial.
Yeah, you got a trial,
right?
And you were convicted. And any way he wants to look at it, that's fine. This is really an historic verdict here, an historic sentencing.
And it's not done, by the way, because he still has Los Angeles.
Still has Los Angeles. In fact, the district attorney here says that they've already started the extradition process, so he may be coming west before he even finds out where he's going to be in New York State. How does it work? Which one would get which?
Probably New York because it was first. It will probably be New York.
So no matter what happens, he'll serve in New York first.
I mean, that can all be negotiated. There's a lot of horse trading that goes on with jurisdictions on that. But probably it will be New York since that's already complete.
But the guy who's certainly looked at
as life. This is life in prison.
Yeah, but
it's life in prison.
The guy who essentially is looked at as the start of the Me Too movement got convicted, and a lot of people felt like that wouldn't happen. That a rich white guy was not going to would be able to walk on this, and he didn't. Not only was he convicted, but he got almost the maximum. The max was 29. Right. He got 23.
Right.
I think that Harvey Weinstein, he's pretty much just projecting. My name is Cheyenne, and I'm from Philadelphia, and this is just what powerful men do when they get away with something. And I think that this is a move in the right direction overall, and I'll take it as a win, especially for the Me Too movement. Let's do it. Patriarchy is real.
Yeah, by the way, I should say the accusers, as they walked out of court, were greeted with people who were chanting justice as they walked out arm in arm. So, quite a scene in New York.
Yep.